you're making mistakes, it's actually a good thing. The reason why I believe it's a good thing is because you're trying something new, you're learning something new. You know, when you're trying to do mathematics or English or science for the first time, you keep making mistakes until you get it right. So I believe that that's the kind of same thing. So I just kept making mistakes, you know, until I got onto social media and started realizing that social media wasn't just about people taking pictures of themselves on the beach. It was, you can use social media to create wealth and create a lot of wealth.
Today we get to speak with Arn Terry. He's an international headhunter, a social media blogger who's focused on gratitude, appreciation, and chose to have fun along the way. He helps turn your passion or hobby into profit and can help raise your social media presence. He's been creating a lot of inspirational videos that are focused on hints, tips, secrets to having fun making money by using social media. He's making results through getting sales leads and scaling your online presence by making money from your mobile or computer. We can take valuable takeaways as we listen to his journey as a social media blogger and a mindset coach. So let's listen in. Thank you for tuning in to Hacks and Hobbies with your host, Junaid. We're visited by our amazing guests coming from all walks of life. We want to learn their story, their struggles, and their journey on how they got to where they are today. So stick around. Arn Terry, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. Thank you very much. I can hear you loud and clear from Manchester, UK. I'm great.
Fantastic. So we are having a conversation with Arn Terry, who's located in Manchester, UK. We're located here in Virginia, USA. And the podcast has been doing great. We've been talking to a ton of guests. It's been a ton of fun. So Arn, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a version of your journey that no one's heard before.
Right, okay. So a little about myself is father, husband, 3 children, married 13 years. You know, story from most proud fathers, husbands out there that want to do best for themselves and the family. So my journey and a bit about myself is I'm an international headhunter, recruiter, turned social media professional and blogger. And I got to that point by making mistakes 10 years ago and thinking to myself, I don't want to be in the position where I was 10 years ago. And I learned and stumbled across my journey to where I am now. So it started a good number of years ago, as I said, back in 2008, when there was a global financial crisis, the credit crunch, whatever you want to call it, the collapse of the bank investment companies. At that time, I was a younger, should I say, recruiter, and my clients were in the financial services. So I had Bear Stearns as one of my clients. I had Perot Systems, who were at the time a very large consultancy company, pretty much like your PwC or your Accenture, that kind of business. So, life was great back then, 2008. I've been in recruitment for a good number of years at the time. I was earning money, I was earning commission. And then, that collapse happened and it got very, very tough and it got very, very real because I started losing my clients.
Wow.
So what basically happened for me? So back then, 2008, it was one client stopped, and the next one went under. Then another client disappeared, and at the time I was going through my family journey. Got married in 2006. Got a house a couple of years before that. Our first daughter was born in 2008. So it was going through that journey of family and creating a family, and then but obviously the burden that comes with that is the finances. So obviously your mortgage, your wedding finances, your honeymoon, your firstborn. and we wasn't ready. No one was ready for the credit crunch.
Nope.
So what that meant for me was, I had all this financial burdens coming on, which was great financial burdens. So I don't want to make it sound like it was bad. It was great, wedding, etc. But my clients stopped recruiting. So because my clients stopped recruiting, I was mainly based on a commission-based role. So it was like I had no money going on. So anyone from who went through that can understand and remember the painful times when it
Yeah.
was like, okay, what do I do? You was looking right. How do I get How do I get money into the account? Because we've got more money coming out than coming in. Was literally the same as we're all just depleting. So I did what most people did and do, which was get a second job. So back then, 2008, I got a job at Tesco supermarket. I worked in the back room or storeroom, whatever you want to call it, which was on the clothing department. But I was still working a full-time job, which was still, getting into the office at 7:30, 8 o'clock, still finishing at 7 o'clock in the evening. But come Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was doing a part-time job as well. So it was tough. It was difficult. I felt like I was going to lose everything because
Wow.
I was a lot younger at the time. So,
No,
so yeah, it's just like when.
I could totally relate. I mean, I got married back in 2006 as well, so we were basically on the same track. Going on 13 years. I've got three kids as well. Our first one was 2010. So I went through that same credit crunch, that same collapse, and I think I lost my job. It was something around the same time, and I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And looking for work was tough. And I think my longest one where I was looking for work was back in 2010. For 8 months, I didn't have anything, and then finally, when I did find some work, I had to move to a different state. And I think that experience alone,
Mhm.
being able to move because now you have a paying job, enabled me to get back on my feet, start a new adventure. We were newly married as well, and my I think my wife had just finished her master's. But again, it was a really
Mhm.
different time, and those struggles we go through, and it it kind of helps us figure out, okay, how can we make sure that this never happens to us again? Like you said, you were commission based.
Absolutely.
So how did you solve that issue? All of this happened. What changes did you make?
It took a long time. Just to interject, I wasn't fully commission based. I had a very low salary, but it was mainly commission. That's what I relied on. So the car payments, the mortgage, anything extra was mainly from the commission.
Mm.
Everything else, obviously, the basics just covered the basics. So how did I cope from that, and what did I do? Unfortunately, I did what everyone else was doing. I was feeling sorry for myself first of all. There was a lot of pity, and
Yeah.
then there was a lot of guilt, and then there was a lot of self sacrifice, selling the car. So I believed at the time that I deserved a nice car. I believed I deserved the nice things, but reality kicks in, and you just think it's just the car, it's just material stuff. So I got rid of the nice car. I bought what I thought was going to be a car that would last me. So, but it didn't. It was that bad. This car, the electrics failed on the car, so I had no indicators. Then the speedometer went, so I couldn't even
Yes.
see how fast I was going. And again, I'm just painting the picture because I know a lot of people have been through this and maybe going through this at the moment,
Yeah.
due to COVID. Probably people going through this, so it's an issue and it's a struggle. So really, I just had to cope because having a young family at the time, all I had to do, all I was doing, I wasn't really thinking strategically. I was just
Mm.
thinking, right, okay, me and my wife were just thinking, how can we get money in the bank? How can we get money in bank account? So we just kept working and working and working and working. So, I was doing a job at Tesco's plus my current position, which was kind of like shaky because people didn't know if they want to keep the jobs or not. Luckily, we did keep our jobs. So I was working 2 jobs. My wife was still working full time.
Hmm.
And it was just a very difficult period. So I didn't do anything out of the ordinary, to be honest with you, through that period. It
Yeah.
was just, right, okay, hunker down, stop feeling sorry for yourself, and bring in some extra cash,
Yeah.
and just keep doing that. So, and I kind of suppose I changed because at the time I was working for a business. Now I own my own consultancy, but I was working for a business. So I kind of changed my clients who I was going for. So obviously, he wasn't going for any financial companies. Um, so I changed it and started to speak to, councils or public sector companies, a budget, and they still had to spend that budget no matter what. Um, and while that was going on and while I was picking myself up, like you said, I came to a position where I didn't want to be in this position again. So it was kind of like, right, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to be a millionaire by this time in 2 years. That never happened. So it was just by mistakes after mistakes after making mistakes. I was looking into like MLM, multi-level marketing. I was looking at selling products. I was looking at, should I go into property? I was looking at trading. And none of it fell right. So I would just made mistakes after mistakes. And, people that listen to your podcast now that may be beating themselves up, I say, don't beat yourself up. If you're making
Yeah.
mistakes, it's actually a good thing. The reason why I believe it's a good thing is because you're trying something new, you're learning something new. When you're trying to do mathematics or you English or science for the first time, you keep making mistakes until you get it right. So I
Yeah.
believe that that's the kind of same thing. So I just kept making mistakes,
Hmm.
until I got onto social media and started realizing that social media wasn't just about people taking pictures of themselves on the beach. It was, you can use social media to create wealth and create a lot of wealth.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned a really good point about making mistakes and making mistakes and making mistakes. And some of the reasons why we do make mistakes is because number one, we are struggling, we are depressed, we're trying to find anything, just about anything that's going to give us that monetary feedback, that's going to get us paid, that's going to put the bank in the money in the bank so we can finally afloat. It's almost like when a drowning man, what does it do? He'll grab onto anything that's gonna get him back
Yeah,
onto the top, right? So that's what we're doing
yeah,
when we don't have a job. So you're gonna try everything possible, right? MLM, try to get into real estate. And when you mentioned that, I'm thinking in my head, how I was trying to do all of these things last year because I was without a job, right? For 9 months or 10 months, I was without a job, and I was like, okay, what can I do that's gonna get me back out there? Sure, I can do these short jobs. I can drive and get paid that way. I can do short jobs here and there, but it's not going to be sustainable. Like none of that is going to be sustainable because I'm still exchanging time for my time for money, and
yes,
that's
yes,
never is going to be enough, right? You're never going to make $2,000 an hour
hmm
unless you have the systems in place.
yes.
So, what are some of the things you did to create that kind of success for yourself?
Yeah, so the things I did to create, I think I've just lost signal and lost connection. So hopefully you can hear me.
I,
Can you hear me still? Yeah, I think it just went off then. So the systems that I did was, the stuff like this doesn't just come by chance. First of all, I was educating myself. So not just self-educating. This was before COVID, obviously before COVID. So I was going to seminars, I was meeting people, greeting people, networking, mastermind groups. I was being coached and mentored, invested my time and money. So I was getting my systems and processes right and educating myself. And then what happened was when COVID hit, and the reason why I say I wasn't affected dramatically, by COVID was because I had different systems in place. I had different streams of income. So just to talk you through what happened, and it's, you know, and it's still obviously a sore subject for my recruitment business, international recruitment business, is because I had clients where I had a lot of money that was due to be invoiced, or due to be invoiced, but they stopped the recruiting straight away. So not only did the clients lose out on some really good candidates, the candidates didn't get the job that they handed their notice in to get the job.
Wow.
So, you know, very tricky situations. And so if people, you know, probably listening to this podcast and they've been maybe in that same situation where they've handed their notice in and then kind of limbo, and they've had to go back to the current job to say, can you please sign me up so I can be furloughed for however long because I need to eat.
Right.
So you know, this is real. So so obviously I had to deal with that. I had to deal with, you know, the emotional strain to speak to my candidates and talk them through that process, and which is still going on at the moment.
Yeah.
But thankfully for me, I had my social media business going in the background, so I was consulting with clients as well. And again, luckily, I used my social media know-how to speak to my clients and help them about branding, getting onto YouTube, getting onto Instagram, how to kind of 10x their business, and how to basically get more of market share by using social media the right way. And so I was doing that, and I was speaking to. It all started, you know, just last year, speaking to friends, family, and, you know, giving them advice, and then it just kind of snowballs from then. And then the next minute, you've got more people asking you for advice, and I'm like, well,
Yeah.
wait, I should be charging for this. So then I was charging, you know, and still am charging, you know, consulting or coaching fees. And then what I basically did was it was kind of very clinical because I went through it in 2008. I knew the signs of what was going to happen. So what I mean by clinical, I wrote down, okay, what I need to do is I need to create this amount of money. So I'm going to create a blog. Okay, so I'll monetize my blog basically by putting adverts on there, etc., etc. So when they click onto it, I get paid. Right, that's cool. I'm going to go set my YouTube channel, so I'll get that to a certain level, so it's monetized, so YouTube pay me. Right, check, get that. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to do affiliate marketing. I'm going to sell other people's products. So before I knew it, you know, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different streams of income.
Yeah.
Coming through. You still hear me because I think the maybe speaking
too
fast and the signal's not great. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so you know, it started happening with multiple streams of income here. So, but the point is to anyone, and I've been told this by so many people, is you should only just have a plan A. If you have a plan B, then you're not focused on your plan A. I think that's a load of nonsense. That's my belief, and this has just made it evident with COVID, because everyone that's just put the focus on one journey, one source of income. Now they don't know what to do. So when my recruitment business, and it did, my recruitment business literally shut down overnight because no one could recruit because they didn't know where they stood, and they didn't know what was going on with social distancing. So I just had to, you know, stop. But so I just basically leveled up on the social media side. And then the next thing that I was doing as well was, okay, I'm getting more and more people chasing me for coaching calls. And like you said, trading time for money, money for time. I was thinking, okay, I don't have enough time in the day to be going through all this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a digital product. So I'll create my how to dominate social media, and I'll put it online. And then it's right, okay, if you want my time, you get this product, which is how to dominate social media. And that's a way that I've pushed that out to the masses. You know, I've rolled it out across the world, and that's now as we speak. And that's why, you know, they say this thing where making money as you sleep, and that's what I'm teaching people out there as well, and coaching them and saying it's so important that you have multiple streams of income. And, you know, I say it just real to people. I say, you know, you don't think about, I want to earn £10,000, £20,000 a month. Think about, okay, what's important to you? Is it your food shopping? How much is that? Is it $200? Okay, then. So your focus is to make $200 a week or a month, whatever, and you just scale it up from there. It just
Yeah.
depends on that person, because every person's success is different to someone else. Some
Yeah.
person, they may want the 10, 20, £100,000 a month, but someone else is like, no, I just want to make sure I can pay my car payments and my mortgage or rent. So I just want to make a couple of $1,000s a month. So
Absolutely.
that's my story.
No, beautiful. It's powerful because one thing that we forget to do is get very clear on what we want out of, like, what's gonna get us happy. And
Yes.
sure, we all grew up on a concept of you go to school, you get a job, you get rich, but you don't really get rich. You just continue on just being
Yeah.
over broke, right? Just over broke.
Yeah.
That's what a job
Yeah.
is, right?
J-O-B.
Right.
J-O-B. Yeah.
Right. So you're just over broke because if two checks doesn't come through, you're out in the open because we are not taught on how to use our money, our time properly. We're just taught on you
Mm-hmm.
just spend 8 hours here and then you spend all your money here, and that's the way the life is. But when everything goes down, a lot of people, they get super clear on what they want out of life. And like you said, sure, I got to be able to pay my expenses. I've got to be able to have food. What's how much money do I need monthly? Right? I need to be able to pay the
Mm-hmm.
rent. How much money do I need monthly? What can I sell that's going to give me that money? What can I
Yes.
do that's going to give me that money on a monthly basis? Anything on top of
Yes.
that. So I think financial management is very important in that area.
Mm-hmm.
And to be good in financial management, you got to be able to manage your time as well. So a lot of these things go
Yes.
hand in hand. And I think one way to increase that ability is to fill up your mind with good stuff. And that's what you did, right? You started studying, you
Yes.
started learning, you started watering where you're standing. People say the grass is greener on the other side. No, no, no. The grass is greener on where you're standing. If
Mm-hmm.
you water that area, you're gonna grow, right? So that's what you did. You
Absolutely.
grow yourself, and
Absolutely.
the more good you put in, the more good you comes out.
Mm-hmm.
Today I was a mastermind call, and my our instructor was like, the more you, like, if you're complaining a lot, be ready to hear complaining from others, because the more what you put out is what's going to come back
Yes.
tenfold. So if you
Yes.
put out good content, if you put out good vibes, more good vibes are going to come to you. So we have to be
Yes. Yes.
a giver, we have to become a teacher, we have to become a giver, a leader in that space.
Yes.
So I think what you did was beautiful. And yes, a lot of people say don't have a plan B, don't have a plan C, don't have a side hustle, just focus on one thing. A lot of the times that works because to keep you from drowning, you got to learn how to swim, and you're going to kick your feet to
Mm-hmm.
hell to stay
Mm-hmm.
stay from drowning, right? But once you figured out how to swim, now you can say, okay, let me build a boat so I can then fish and
Yes.
enjoy the
Exactly.
sun at the same time. And you're not going to be able to do that if you just have a single thought mind. And that's why they call it the rat race, because you're just running and running and running without realizing that there's so many more things to do. So having multiple
Yeah.
sources of income.
And it's it's so important, and I'm glad that you mentioned the rat race as well, because I did a YouTube video recently on the
Hmm.
rat race, and it was just me explaining, and I did it by way of diagram as well, a chart, just
Nice.
saying the rat race is just like the more you spend, so the more you earn. So you get a pay increase or you get a big bonus. What do you do? Oh, that car, I've been wanting to get that car, or we can get this house, or we can go on this vacation. So as your salary goes up, your expenses go up and they follow it continuously. So just exactly what you said perfectly is you're just over broke. So
Yes.
that's my interpretation of the rat race. The more you keep spending, so the more you you earn, the more you keep spending. And it just keeps going up and up and up. So even if you're on, I know people, on 200 or close to £200,000 a year, if not more than that. And these are people who are placed because they do high profile placements, and on interim, and they're like, oh, can you get me the next contract? I haven't got that much money. I'm like, well, I've had you earning £1,000 a day kind of thing, and these guys are just over broke because they're still spending. They just keep spending rather than investing properly. So then I did another graph versus the journey of an entrepreneur who knows how to invest properly. So the journey of an entrepreneur, the spending spike goes up quite dramatically because that's spending on your seminars, your coaching, your training, X, Y, and Z. But then once your investment then goes up, your expenses level off because you know how to invest money properly. Like, I'm a big fan of Robert T. Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, cash flow quadrant, etc. So it's just like once your investments start to come through and come to fruition, your earnings just skyrocket. So that's another thing that I coach people and talk to people about as well. Like what you said, it's the time management, the money management side, to put into your business. I believe it's the most important thing, and that's what I'm teaching to my children. I'm teaching my 12-year-old daughter and teaching my 9-year-old son. They've literally, I made them do that bar chart, one of the entrepreneurial journey and one of the rat race journey, and it's literally stuck on their wardrobes in their room. So they see that every morning, which side do you want to be on? They don't have to be an entrepreneur, but would you rather just keep earning money and spending money, or would you rather start investing? So what I teach as well isn't just for
adults.
Adults. It's for kids as well, because it's creating your blog. And I've put through my son and my daughter, I'd probably say 10%, no, maybe like 5% of what I teach, and they make their money through their own blogs. So my son blogs and my daughter blogs because they monetize their blog posts. So you don't know what you don't know, but once you know it, you realize you need to learn more.
Yes. And I think the younger age that they start at, the more it sticks in their mind. And I think that's what I remember reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it said, have your 10-year-old son read it. They're going to get so much value out of it because they'll realize the cost of money or the cost of time more than anything else. That's the book. Yep.
I've got the book there, Rich Dad.
Yes. Now, what's beautiful?
So I'm just literally holding up. Yeah.
What's beautiful is my son was asking me, can I get a checking account?
Yeah.
He's like, can I get a checking account? I was like, well, where's the money going to come in? Where are you going to earn money from? It's like, my allowance that my mom gives us. I'm like, okay, that's good, but how long is that going to last? How quickly will you, run out of that runway? Because essentially that's what it is. It's a runway. So what you need to learn is how to manage what you have and how to bring in more. And yes, I need to, get him the book and get him to read the book because he loves reading. Absolutely. He finished the entire Harry Potter series in within a week, 8 books or 7 books or whatever.
Wow.
So he loves reading. Yeah, he's a very fast reader. But with COVID,
do you know what I would suggest? Is you can get the Rich Dad Poor Dad for teens.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So I bought that for my son and my daughter. So they've got a Rich Dad Poor Dad, the kids edition, which is only a small little book. It's tiny, and it's very condensed, and it's not too overwhelming. So I've got them that, and I've got another one. It's I can't remember what the title is. It's something like Successful Teens or something, and it's kind of similar to Robert's book, but there's a bit more in there as well. So yeah, I've got my 12-year-old daughter. She's reading Richest Man in Babylon for the second time. She hates me for it, but it's just educating them, and I say to them now, I don't expect you to understand what I'm trying to teach you, but I've made a lot of mistakes. I'm telling to my kids, I've made a lot of mistakes. I've spent money when I shouldn't be spending money. I've not invested in the right investment. I've seen investment opportunities, but I've gone on holiday instead, which, it's been great going on holiday and spending time, but it's a thing where, and I'm saying this, in fact, to my brother, like one of my friends that I know, buying his young child like trainers for £200, which is probably like, I don't know, $230.
Yeah.
I was like, well, stuff like this, he's not going to appreciate these trainers. Why not get that money, invest it in that company or a pair of Nikes? So learn about buying stock and invest that $230 rather than in a pair of trainers. Just buy some stock and just keep doing that bit by bit, and it was just, trainers were just bought because of, just why not, but it wasn't needed. So that's what I'm teaching my children as well. Yes, that's you can still spend money, still have fun, but try and invest it in what you need to.
Oh, that's really, really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing those links to the book for teens and what I absolutely agree. If I had invested.
Yes, it's a shame that my section's a bit.
Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, so it's just a shame that the connection's a bit jumpy on my side. So hopefully,
same here. It's a little slow. It's a little slow. There's a little bit of lag, and we are crossing, country borders and an entire ocean.
We'll keep going now. We'll keep going. Okay.
I'm going to try to stop the video and see what that does. All right, so we've had a really cool conversation about, your journey, importance of education, about finances for our children, and what it does, and how that's going to help them grow as a human being, as somebody who can be successful as they grow.
Yes.
And that, that's beautiful, really awesome information, awesome education for them to learn and go through that. So because we are in a time space where, 20 years from now, when somebody asks you what you want it to be, they would have a very standard answer. But now, in the past 10 years and past 5 years, you ask kids what they want to be. They want to be a YouTuber, or they want to be a celebrity. They want to be an influencer, right? Their answers have changed because what they see in the world happening.
Yes.
And all you really, really need is 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers. That is all. You just need 1,000 to 2,000 people in your followership for you to be successful.
Yes.
And that is so. It looks like a huge number. I mean, it looks like a very small number, but it's really huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like, have you seen 1,000 people in one place just listening to you talk? It's insane. So, and to get there, you just have to be really true to your message. You have to be really true to who you are, what you want to be as a person, and what your story is. Be super truthful to who you are as a person. We no longer need to fake it till you make it, because
and we're not very easy as well.
Yes.
So the internet is a great thing as well. So the thing is, when anyone listens to this and like, I want to be a YouTuber, I want to do this on my journey, exactly what you said, and bottle up and listen and replay what you just said.
Yeah.
And just do not fake it till you make it. Yeah. Do not create elaborate stories. Just be yourself, because what will happen is if you're putting on the persona of someone who you're not, you'll get the wrong audience. You'll get someone, people expecting you to be this kind of person. And then
Yes.
you have to carry on this character. That's
Mm.
why I believe you see some of these, so-called celebrities and stuff when they have a kind of a breakdown or they do something that you seems out of character, but
The
it's not out of
burnouts.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they've been putting on this character for so long, they've just
Hmm.
burnt themselves out. The people who will do it, yeah, it may take a bit longer, but just do the best you can and just be truthful to yourself.
Yeah.
And what you mentioned about the 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers, it's so true. And again, people that listen to this, please stop looking at the big celebrities out there when they've got 1 million subscribers or
Yeah.
whatever. They've got that because they are who they are.
Yeah.
Focus on yourself. And I think the great thing about YouTube as well, being a YouTuber, is they celebrate the small wins. So it's like
Yes.
once you get your first 100 subscribers, you get like a bit of a party email. You've got 100 subscribers, and I think
Yeah.
when it's like 200 or 500, you get another email, a message from them as well. So even they've got your back, just to celebrate the little wins. So celebrate your first subscriber, celebrate your 10th subscriber, your 20th subscriber.
Yeah.
Don't put big, goals like I want to be like this influencer or that influencer. Yes, it's
Yeah.
great to have that ambition, but if you've got too much that ambition to try and copy these large influencers or celebrities, you're gonna fall flat on your face, and you're gonna
You, yeah, and
feel
you're gonna be
depressed.
disappointed a lot of the times.
Yeah, yeah,
You're gonna be so disappointed.
yeah.
So, don't put those crazy expectations out there. It's as if you're gonna go to the gym one day and have buff arms the next day. It's not gonna happen, right? It's not gonna happen.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
even think about the 20 people that do subscribe you. Those 20 people, if they were in one room, that's a lot of people,
Yes.
right? Having that real heart-to-heart conversation with even one person, even two people during a week or during a day, it's hard work to do.
Yeah.
Like really hard work to do. And that's why, celebrities get so high up there because one, they're celebrities. They've done the body of work. They've done the work
Mm.
to get to that level. Like one of the latest celebrities that I discovered last year was Billie Eilish, the singer,
Yes. Yeah. She's
songwriter.
phenomenal.
She is
Absolutely phenomenal.
phenomenal, beautiful, but she's
Yeah.
been putting in the work for a
Yeah.
long time,
Yeah.
right? So success doesn't come overnight. You just got to keep showing up.
Yeah.
The more you show up, the more you tell your story, the more opportunities, the more people will see you and see how genuine and real you are.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and then again, on the YouTube thing as well. Just if anyone is thinking about creating a YouTube channel, I would say don't think about it. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. Have fun. The main thing is have fun. You're gonna make tons of mistakes. I'm constantly making mistakes, and I love making mistakes, but make sure I always learn from them. Because and I keep saying to people, you make mistakes because you're learning something new, you're doing something different. Please don't be like the majority of people who say, I'm not going to try this because I might make a mistake, I might do something wrong. Embrace it. Embrace the
Yes.
mistakes. Just do the lessons learned. And if you want to get, some guidance, you can obviously, come to me. I'll give you
Yeah.
guidance, but or just speak to people or go into YouTube. How to do this or how do we
Yep.
do that. The internet is a great place if used in the right way.
Yes. Absolutely. Fantastic advice. Thank you so much, Arn. We do have some questions towards the end of the podcast that
Mhm.
I love to ask my guests. So number one, what is the one hobby that you wish you got into?
Rowing, actually, believe it
Mm,
or not, rowing literally
nice.
on the water,
Yeah.
not in the gym, rowing.
Not in the gym, on the
Yeah,
actual water. Nice.
yeah.
That is
just to be precise.
no, that is a beautiful activity. You get to be out in the open, on the
Yeah,
water. It's just amazing, amazing. Getting out there and rowing. I've seen, in movies, there's a team of rowers. They're just out there rowing.
yeah.
It's just beautiful to see.
it just, for me, it just feels free. It feels liberating.
Yeah.
You've got nature around you. Obviously, it's not going to be all great weather, but I'm the kind of
Yeah.
person. I used to run to work when I used to work for someone in the city centre. So I used to,
Nice.
I used to run the equivalent of a marathon a week running to work,
Wow.
or bike to work. So for me,
Yeah.
rain, sunshine, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I like the activity, but for me, that's it. Rowing, that's one thing I wish I got into.
Nice. Second question. What did you want to be when you were a child?
I believe it or not, I wanted to. I was always into cars, and I wanted to be a racing driver.
Oh, yes.
Because I was in F1, Nigel Mansell,
Uh-huh.
Nelson Piquet and stuff like that. So I wanted to be a Formula One driver or
Mm.
some sort of sports perform car driver.
Yeah.
And funny enough, when I went into high school,
Mm.
and I saw my careers coach. So this is years and years later. So I
Yeah.
think I was 15 at the time, but obviously from a young age, I love cars. They said, what do you want to do? So I went to speak to my careers counsellor. So I said, I know I'm obviously too old now to get into motorsports because obviously
Yeah.
you start young, but I said I would love to be a car test driver for high
Yeah.
performance cars.
Yeah.
And their response was, bear in mind, this was back in, I think, 96.
Okay.
Yes, I'm showing my age now. So this was probably back in 96. I said, well, you're good at sport, so why don't you become a PE teacher? I was like, I didn't ask that. Basically, I wanted to be a race driver.
Nice. Nice. Like Speed Racer.
Yes, exactly that. Like cartoon stroke film, speed racing.
Yes.
Yes.
That was so cool. All right, next question. What is your favorite movie or TV show?
I don't think anyone would know this. One of my favorite movies. It was actually don't quote me on this. It was 1940s or 1941. It's actually called The Thief of Baghdad. It's a phenomenal film. I love film. I love motion picture.
Nice.
I love the way it takes you and transforms you into a different world, a different reality.
Yeah.
And The Thief of Baghdad did it for me when I was a young kid. So I think I must have watched it for the first time. Maybe I was, I don't know, 5 years of age.
Wow.
And it's had that impression on me to the point where I still watch it. Like every other month, I still watch that film.
Wow.
Love it. So it's basically it's based on genie and adventure. Think of Sinbad. Think of
Okay.
Sinbad the Sailor, Jason
Yeah.
Adams kind of film, story. So it's about adventure. It's very colourful. It's wishes. It's magic.
What's this
And
called?
the Thief of Baghdad.
The Thief of Baghdad.
Yeah, one of the
Nice.
best films. No, probably for me one of the best films ever made.
Wow.
I like my old films, so I always go back to like Spartacus, Jason the Argonauts, Sinbad the Sailor.
Nice.
Those type of films are completely.
Those are very very classic ones. I grew up listening to those as well. We used to have something called a cassette kahani or cassettes. Basically, they would record these stories on with a whole production crew, right, on cassette tapes, and we would listen to these cassette tapes, and they were in my language, Urdu, right? But
Yes.
it's entire story. Like it's almost like watching a TV show, but only that it's all in your imagination. It was really good.
You know what? You've just literally opened up a memory just saying that.
Yeah.
I had exactly the same kind of stories on cassettes,
Mhm.
obviously in English.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I
It's like
completely
radio.
forgot about it until
Yeah.
you mentioned it just now.
And what we would do is every once in a while I'll pull up these stories on YouTube. So they have these stories on YouTube, and I would play them back for my kids. And I'm like, whoa, that's so cool. And of course, they've added some video aspect to it, but some of the stories that I've heard are just so amazing that you don't even need picture for it
No.
for it to make sense. It's really cool.
it's imagination, and
Yes.
again, we could speak. I feel like we could speak for hours just about imagination.
Yeah.
So it's imagination, and that's unfortunately what I feel a lot of the younger generation are lacking,
Yeah.
and it's not their fault as well. Technology moves on,
Hmm.
but I think we just need to get back to imagination, and
Yes.
that's where a lot more creativity comes from. Just by sometimes down tools, put your technology away and just daydream and just imagine and
Yeah.
put in your mind's eye and then visualize what's going to happen, or what you can create.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, next question. What movie would you choose if you got to play a character in it?
What movie would I choose? Oh, this is a great question.
Thank you.
If I was a character, um I think I'm too cheesy to be a bad guy. I don't think anyone would take me serious. I would have to be the best actor in the world to be a bad guy. So it would have to be more like a kind of maybe a kind of like Rock and God, I can't believe I've forgotten his name now. Who does Rock always collaborate with? The comedian.
Oh, Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. So
Yeah.
it'll be like a Rock and Kevin Hart
Nice.
kind of movie, where I'd come as a cameo, and I'd be like Kevin
Yeah.
Hart's like younger brother or his twin brother or something like that, and we hate each other, but we love
Yeah.
each other at the same time. So it'd probably be that kind of movie where we just hate each other but love each other, and we just keep taking the mick out of each other all the time.
That would be so fun to watch. That's awesome. All right, next question. Who is your favorite superhero?
Oh wow, wow. You speak to someone who absolutely loves Marvel.
Yes, me
Um,
too, man.
so,
Oh,
my favorite.
it's impossible to
Yeah,
pick.
it's. I'm gonna let me do this to make it a lot easier. So let's just talk
Okay.
about the current films that have come out in the Marvel universe.
Okay.
I would probably, I'd probably say, and this only because I was at Madame Tussauds just the other
Sure.
day with my kids, and my wife absolutely loves them. She was getting so excited that she was stood next to this character, so
Hmm.
the biggest smile on the face. So the person would be Thor. Um,
Oh, nice.
so yeah, he's obviously
He's amazing. Yeah.
yeah, so he can fly, God and thunder and all that stuff. So yeah, it'd probably be Thor. I think he's a great character.
Nice. I like it. I like it. He's got a really amazing story arc throughout the movies, right?
Yeah,
The decades. Like he's arrogant, he learns, and he's grateful, and then he's graceful.
yeah,
It's just amazing just to see his journey.
journey.
It's
Uh,
it's a little abrupt because
yeah,
it's got to be. Unlike Tony Stark's, his story is I associate a lot with. I mean, I didn't go through a lot of the pains that he did, but there's a lot of connections. Like I love tinkering with stuff too,
yeah.
and hence the podcast hacks and hobbies.
Yeah,
Hacking stuff up.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you're an engineer. That's
Yes.
what he literally classed himself as. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why I would say for as well. You articulated a lot better than me. Is just the story that he went through, because when you watch his first movie, he's
Yeah.
so abrupt, so brash, so arrogant.
Yeah.
Odin's like, "You're not going to lead." You're. He expected it. He expected it. I'm going to be. I'm
Yeah.
going to be king. I'm going to be. King of Asgard.
Yeah.
God, I feel like we could speak about this for hours, but yeah. So
Well, what's beautiful is that that's the entitlement
mm,
that we all that we all see,
yeah,
right? When we hear the word entitlement, like, oh, the millennials are entitled, they expect
mm,
all of this, and that I
mm,
think that's what Thor showed,
yes,
right? And then
yeah,
and later on, it's like, no, that's not gonna get you anywhere. You
yeah,
have to sacrifice.
yeah,
You have to give up.
yeah. And then yeah,
Wow.
it's just a really powerful. And then basically when he was then worthy of it, is he didn't want it.
Yes.
because
Yes.
he was so past. Not he felt better than that, but he knew there was more of him to give out
Yeah.
there, and he knew he wasn't the right person at that time for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an incredible journey, and that's why I love film. That's why I love motion picture,
Yes.
and that's why we fall in love with these characters, because if it's done right, it takes you into you're not in the you're not just
No.
watching the movie, you're in
No.
it.
Yeah.
And the daughter just reminded me just the other day. She was like, "Dad, do you remember when we watched?" This is a spoiler alert. If
Yeah.
anyone's not seen Endgame, I don't know why. But she,
Why
like
wouldn't you see Endgame? Come on.
exactly,
Get with the plan, guys.
and my daughter was like, "Oh, do you remember when that woman was crying when Tony Stark died?"
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, the woman was literally sat behind us in the cinema, and she was sobbing. She
Oh
was
wow.
crying her
Yeah.
out. And I said, we was kind of giggling, but I said that's what motion picture does for you. It
Yes.
brings you into it,
Yeah.
into the film. It's like she was there and she saw him, breathing his last breath,
Yeah.
and what he did and what he committed to his team, to the world, to the universe, and
Yeah.
beyond. It's awesome. I love motion picture.
And then the evolution of him too, right? Remember in the first Avenger,
Mm,
Captain America tells him, "You would never lay down your
yes.
life on anything." And that affected him. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
He is an ever evolving person, like
Person. Yeah.
throughout all of the 24 movies, whatever. He's evolved the
Yeah.
most throughout. I mean, it's just beautiful to
It
see
is.
that
And
full circle.
I think on that the scene that he's talking about, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the
Hmm.
one when Captain America says you won't jump on a grenade and like
Yes.
and then Tony Stark comes out with some flippant comment uh,
Yeah.
of a solution, because he's an engineer, so his brain works differently. So he
Yeah.
came up with a solution, and like the way
Yeah.
Captain America just like rolled his eyes at him, like just yeah, as you can tell, yeah, I like the
Yes.
movies. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was just phenomenal character,
Yeah.
great acting,
We
and
might, we might have to do another episode where we just talk about Marvel. I've had a lot of conversation with other guests where we just went to this Marvel deep black hole, right? I mean, it would be really fun if I were to bring all of us Marvel fanatics back and we just
oh
talked about
yes,
Marvel movies and
yes,
like reminisce. I think that would be so fun to
yeah.
do.
100%. And we can talk about. I don't know if you watched the first Spider-Man movie when it's
Hmm.
literally shooting web. Was it a movie or series? I think it was a series. And when he was shooting the web, this is the film or program. It just looked like someone throwing a piece of rope, and
Yeah.
and it was like revolution. It's like whoa, you know.
Yes. Yes. So awesome.
How far special
We've
effects.
come
Yeah,
exactly, man.
yeah.
It's beautiful. All right, last question. If you were a board game, what would it be?
Go. Um,
Nice.
I've never played Go before.
Hmm.
Never played Go.
Yeah.
That's one, and I can't believe I'm saying this now. I'm setting myself challenges.
Yes, you are.
I'm trying to improve my brain capacity. I'm trying to improve, myself as a person, so I can give back better to other people.
Yeah.
And I've got this weird imposter mentality syndrome kind of thing where, because I'm making money online, making money from, giving my courses out. I want to
Yeah.
make sure I'm as knowledgeable as person
Yeah.
as I can be. So I think Go would be the game I would like to be, because it's more strategy, more complex, more thought process than chess or anything
Yeah.
else in its capacity. So that's what I would be.
Well, what's beautiful about having that thought that about imposter syndrome is that anytime you start thinking about syndrome, it means that you're being truthful to who you are
Mm,
and that you're not an imposter because you are thinking clearly in who you want to be.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I hear
I
you
think you're
there.
on a good path, man. Well, Aaron, this Arn, this was really awesome talking with you. Thank you so much for giving us your time. And thanking you, teaching us some lessons and sharing us your story and the tips and tricks and hacks around life and how to help children learn to be better in finances. So
Yeah.
when they grow up, because, as parents, that's our goal. We made mistakes and we want our children to do better than we have done in our lives. And I look back and I look at what my dad has provided for me, and I see exactly that. He wanted to make sure that we didn't have to deal with the problems that he had to deal with. He wanted to make sure that we had a roof, we had food,
Yeah.
plenty of food. So so that's what we're doing with our children. And I think we each one of us have a different way of giving and teaching that knowledge. So thank you so much for sharing.
It's a pleasure, gratitude, appreciation. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Well, have an amazing day, my friend. Talk to you very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to this Hacks and Hobbies episode. Junaid would love to hear from you, so please leave a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Visit hacksandhobbies.com to find additional information on the guest today, as well as the show notes.